Hello guys, and welcome back to another installment of 5 quality of life improvements for War Thunder. This time, however, I'm going to be selecting the suggestions based on your comments and giving my take on them. I hope you guys enjoy. The first improvement comes from Chaos Coder, who suggests that components could be prioritized for repairing. I love this idea for two reasons. Firstly, there have been several situations I've been in which being able to repair my breach or turret drive before my transmission or engine would have allowed me to return fire and destroy the tank shooting at me. Being able to prioritize components for repair would open up more possibilities for dynamic engagements and would reduce player frustration in certain situations. Secondly, this repair prioritization could be extended to whether you repair your tank first or your teammates, if you are in a situation in which it would be beneficial. For example, choosing to repair your friend's breach over your own damaged optics. I feel like this change would add just a little more fun and a few more possibilities into tank-on-tank engagements, and would also reduce a little bit of frustration felt, especially when you're trying to repair a teammate's vehicle but realize you have to spend 20 seconds repairing your own optics first. The second improvement comes from Nicholas and is the ability for crew members to be healed at capture points using a medkit consumable. This is a good idea in principle for a number of reasons. Basically, it would help stop players from feeling frustrated when their crew member or crew members are injured, and would allow the crew replenishment charge to be used to replace a dead crew member and wouldn't need to be wasted on healing an injured one, if Gaijin actually did implement my suggestion to allow it to be used to do so. However, some other people have commented about being able to heal crew members themselves on capture points, which I like a little more than the addition of a medkit consumable, because the addition of a medkit consumable would just be justification for Gaijin to increase the grind even further by making the research and purchase price for the consumable absolutely horrendous, which we all know is what would happen if such an idea was implemented. Healing crew members on capture points evens the playing field and would reward players of all skill levels, and also those who are willing to spend money and those who aren't. So it would benefit both Gaijin and the average player, making it overall good. What I mean by that is if players have a more positive perception of the game, they'll be more willing to recommend it to other players, therefore drawing in more people, and therefore increasing the chance that people spend money, and that Gaijin profits. The third improvement comes from Dixie VDF 55, and it is the ability to change the nationality of the opposing vehicles in the test drive. I very much agree with this suggestion because it would help to be able to shoot actual vehicles and see how shells interact with them in an environment that is less sterile than the armor protection analysis in the hangar. It would also make test drives a bit interesting and less monotonous. Testing against the same vehicles gets very boring after a while. Going one step further, having the option to select the exact vehicles you fight in the test drive could also improve the experience of it, and would allow players to select vehicles they would actually be fighting in real matches, hence allowing them to get an idea of where they can penetrate the opponent's vehicle and where they can't. Yes, it is possible to do this in the armor protection analysis screen, but this takes time when it is being done for several vehicles, time that not everybody has. I got several comments on my previous 5 small improvements video, link in the icard on screen now, about how some people would only play test drives and not actually play any real matches. While that statement is technically true, some people would, just given the population size of, the entire player base, I feel like people would still get bored after a while and just go back to playing regular matches. Shooting bots is fun and all, but after a while it still just gets monotonous even with the suggested change, so it wouldn't impact the number of matches played in the long term, and might even encourage more players to join, which means more money for Gaijin and lower queue times, since that seems to be the justification Gaijin gives for not implementing any meaningful changes. I also feel like the idea that players would only stay in the test drive and only verse bots isn't really a valid take, honestly, because we've had custom battles in-game for a very long time, and quite frankly, people still play regular matches outside of custom battles. And yes, a portion of players do only play custom battles, but again, enough people still play regular matches to the point where it actually isn't a problem. The fourth improvement comes from Andrew Aveels, I hope I said that correctly, and it is the ability to hold off reloading instead of automatically reloading. I do like this idea in principle, but I feel like it could be problematic to implement. Don't get me wrong, saving the few seconds of lost reload time when switching shells would definitely benefit players, especially in CQC situations where a few extra seconds are the difference between life and sending your turret to rendezvous with the ISS. However, the only way I can see to implement such an idea is to include a setting to toggle the feature on and off. This would allow new players to not have to learn more than they already have to, since War Thunder's learning curve is very, very steep, and making it steeper could actually start driving away potential players. When toggled on, a new shell wouldn't be loaded until the corresponding key to select that shell had been pressed, after which reloading will commence. I see this as a potential way to implement the reload holding mechanic. It may not be the optimal way, so please do share your own thoughts in the comments. The fifth and final suggestion comes from Lime R, who suggests that the current machine gun ammo bar counter could be replaced with a numerical system. I do absolutely love this idea because the current bar is just not very good. Yes, it is better than no bar at all, but the contrast on the full versus empty whiteness is very misleading and hard to tell apart at a glance. I've mistaken my machine gun ammo to be full on many occasions when in reality it was mostly empty, simply because I couldn't tell two close shades of white apart at a tenth of a second. This has led me to taking engagements I otherwise wouldn't have taken, mostly against lightly armoured open-top vehicles. Knowing the precise amount of ammo in your MGs would also allow you to more accurately time your bursts against aircraft and other ground vehicles, instead of wasting your whole ammo load because you thought you had more than you actually did, therefore leaving yourself open to a strafing run or a rush by a milk truck. Well, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please let me know in the comments if there is anything I missed in this video. I am thinking of making this a long-running series on my channel, given how astonishingly well my previous video on this topic did. A big thank you to everybody who watched, liked, and commented on it. It really does make a difference. And another big thank you for watching this video until the end. If you did enjoy it, please consider liking and subscribing. And as always, stay salty, my lemons.